The silent fall. The message came at dawn, carried across the void on a desperate transmission beam. Ilara Jensen, governor of New Horizon Colony, stood in the communications center as screens flickered with warning symbols. Outside the reinforced windows of the colony's central hub, the red dwarf star cast a bloody glow across the settlement's white buildings. "They're coming," whispered Communications Officer Malik, his voice barely audible over the hum of equipment. The Vraxian fleet, hundreds of ships. Ilara's face remained impassive, though her heart hammered against her ribs. New Horizon was humanity's furthest colony, established just 15 years ago, on the edge of what the galactic community called unclaimed space. But everyone knew the truth. This wasn't unclaimed. It was disputed territory that the Vraxian Dominion considered their ancestral hunting grounds. "How long?" she asked. 6 hours, maybe less. Ilara nodded, her mind racing through options that didn't exist. New Horizon had minimal defenses, a few orbital platforms, and a handful of outdated fighters. The colony housed 30,000 civilians, scientists, engineers, and farmers. Not soldiers, not warriors. "Send the emergency signal to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. Include all our data on the Vraxian fleet." Malik hesitated. "Governor, Earth is 37 light-years away. Even with quantum comm, they won't receive our message for hours. And even if they responded immediately." "I know the math, Malik," she said quietly. "Just send it." As the young officer turned to his console, Ilara stared at the main display showing the approaching fleet. The Vraxians were considered mid-tier among the galactic powers, nowhere near as advanced as the Aldari Collective or as numerous as the Zoth Hive. But compared to humanity, officially recognized as a developing species under the Galactic Concordat, they were technological giants. The irony wasn't lost on her. Humanity had been forced to hide its true capabilities after the First Contact War, when the Galactic Council had deemed Earth too aggressive to be trusted with advanced technology. The sanctions and restrictions had officially limited human expansion and military development for nearly a century. Officially, 37 light-years away, deep within the asteroid belt of Earth's solar system, Admiral Helena Chen floated in the command center of the EF's Thunderchild, largest of Earth's hidden dreadnoughts. Around her, holographic displays showed the status of what the United Earth government called the contingency fleet. 67 warships that officially did not exist. Admiral, her XO, Commander Jackson, approached with a concerned expression. "We've received a priority Alpha transmission from New Horizon Colony." Helena's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The message played, showing Governor Jensen's calm face betrayed only by the tension around her eyes as she detailed the approaching Vraxian fleet. The transmission included tactical data showing overwhelming numbers. "Analysis," Helena asked the room. "Strategic AI," Athena responded first, her holographic form materializing beside the tactical display. "The Vraxian force consists of approximately 300 vessels, including 12 capital ships. New Horizon defenses will be overwhelmed within 20 minutes of engagement. Complete colony destruction projected within 6 hours." Helena's face remained impassive. "Casualties." "Total population of 29,812. Survival probability 0% without intervention." The command center fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. New Horizon was beyond the permitted zone of human expansion. The Galactic Council had warned Earth repeatedly to cease colonization efforts in disputed territories. Revealing the contingency fleet to save New Horizon would expose the century-long deception Earth had maintained, that humans had complied with technological restrictions. "Options?" Helena asked. Commander Jackson cleared his throat. "We could send a diplomatic request to the Council for intervention." "Denied," Helena replied immediately. "The Council takes weeks to deliberate. New Horizon doesn't have weeks." "We could evacuate," offered Captain Rice from Tactical. "Send fast transports, save who we can." Helena shook her head. The math doesn't work. Even our fastest ships would arrive after the colony falls. And even if we could evacuate everyone, where would we take them? Back to Earth, where the Council would discover them and realize we've been colonizing restricted space. The room fell silent again until Helena spoke with quiet authority. Prepare the fleet for immediate departure. All ships. Full combat loadout. Commander Jackson's eyes widened. Admiral, if we reveal the fleet, I'm aware of the consequences, Commander. Helena's voice cut like steel. Humanity has hidden long enough. We've played by their rules, pretended to be technologically inferior while they carved up the galaxy. Today that ends. Back on New Horizon, Ilara organized the evacuation of civilians to underground bunkers. The colony had been designed with defense in mind, despite official restrictions, with reinforced shelters that could withstand orbital bombardment. At least for a while. Defense Captain Ortiz approached her with a grim expression. Governor, we've deployed all fighters and activated the orbital platforms. But they won't last long. Ilara finished for him. I know. We just need to buy time. For what? Ortiz asked, the question hanging heavy in the air. Ilara didn't answer. There was no answer to give that wouldn't sound like false hope. Instead, she focused on what she could control: the evacuation, the defense preparations, the calm messaging to prevent panic. 6 hours later, the Vraxian fleet arrived in system. Their ships were organic-looking, with curved hulls that resembled massive rib cages stretching hundreds of meters long. The largest vessels, Dreadnoughts by human classification, extended nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with weapons emplacements and fighter bays. The colony's meager defenses engaged immediately. Orbital platforms fired mass accelerator rounds at the approaching fleet, while the 20 outdated fighters launched from the colony's single hangar. On the tactical display, Ilara watched as the human defenders appeared as small blue dots against an overwhelming red swarm. The first Vraxian salvo destroyed 3 orbital platforms instantly. The second eliminated half the fighter squadron. By the third volley, all orbital defenses were gone, and the remaining fighters were making suicidal attack runs against vessels hundreds of times their size. They're hailing us, Malik announced, his voice hollow. Ilara straightened her uniform jacket. Put them through. The screen flickered, revealing a Vraxian war master. The alien's elongated head was covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with each slight movement. 4 yellow eyes blinked independently of each other, and when it spoke, rows of needle-like teeth flashed. Human colony. The translation came through in a flat, synthetic voice. You have illegally settled on Vraxian hunting territory. The penalty is extinction. Ilara kept her expression neutral. War Master, we are a peaceful scientific settlement. We have no quarrel with the Vraxian Dominion. We request negotiation under Galactic Council protocols. The alien made a clicking sound that the translator didn't process. Negotiation is not our way. Your species was warned to remain within your boundaries. Your deaths will serve as instruction to your leaders. The communication cut off abruptly. Moments later, the first bombardment struck the colony. Buildings collapsed as energy weapons carved glowing trenches across the settlement. Defense batteries returned fire from hidden emplacements, but their weapons barely penetrated the shields of the smallest Vraxian vessels. In the command center, Ilara organized the final evacuation to the deepest bunkers. Status of the emergency transmission. Malik checked his console. Confirmed received by Earth Command, Governor. But he didn't need to finish. They both knew Earth couldn't possibly respond in time, even if they had ships capable of challenging the Vraxian Armada, which officially they didn't. As night fell on New Horizon, nearly half the colony lay in ruins. The bombardment had become surgical, targeting infrastructure, power generation, and water reclamation. The Vraxians weren't just destroying, they were systematically dismantling human presence from the planet. In her private office, Ilara recorded what she expected to be her final log entry. Day 5000, 487 of New Horizon Colony. We have survived 12 hours of Vraxian assault. Bunker integrity is holding at 60%, but power systems are failing. Water purification is offline. Casualties. She paused, steadying her voice. Casualties are at 42% of colony population. We expect complete bunker failure within 48 hours. If anyone receives this transmission, New Horizon fought until the end. We die free. Governor Ilara Jensen, signing off. As she ended the recording, the bunker shook with another impact. Dust fell from the ceiling, and emergency lights flickered. Through it all, Ilara maintained her composure. If these were humanity's final hours on this distant world, they would face them with dignity. Admiral Helena Chen stood on the bridge of the Thunderchild as the massive Dreadnought led Earth's fleet through hyperspace. The journey to New Horizon would take 36 hours at maximum velocity, likely too late to save the colony. But Helena had another objective now: justice. Status report, she demanded, scanning the tactical displays showing her fleet formation. All ships maintaining formation, reported Navigation Officer Lin. Hyperspace corridor is stable. Estimated arrival in 34 hours, 17 minutes. Helena nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling blue vortex of hyperspace visible through the bridge viewports. The Thunderchild was a marvel of engineering. 2 kilometers of advanced alloys, quantum computers, and weapons systems that violated at least 15 different Galactic Council restrictions. Its central spine housed the most powerful mass accelerator ever built by human hands, capable of launching projectiles at significant percentages of light speed. And it wasn't alone. Following in precise formation were 66 additional warships, from the smaller frigate-class vessels to 5 additional dreadnoughts, each carrying enough firepower to level a small moon. Commander Jackson approached, offering a data tablet. Latest intelligence from our stealth probes near New Horizon. The colony's surface structures are 70% destroyed, but the deep bunkers are still holding. Current projections give them another 36 hours before complete failure. Helena's lips pressed into a thin line. It would be close. Too close. Push the engines to 110%, she ordered. I want 2 hours shaved off our arrival time. Admiral, the drive cores weren't designed to. I don't care if we have to rebuild every engine in the fleet afterward. Helena cut him off. Those are our people dying out there while the Vraxians take their time. We will not be late to this fight. As Jackson relayed the orders, Helena moved to the strategic planning table where holographic representations of New Horizon and the Vraxian fleet hovered in detail 3D. The alien vessels had formed a blockade around the planet, methodically bombarding the surface. They're being thorough, noted Captain Reyes, taking their time to ensure complete destruction. Almost ritualistic. Helena studied the enemy formation. The Vraxians consider extermination a sacred duty. They're not just killing. They're performing a ceremony. She pointed to the largest enemy vessel. That's their command ship. When we arrive, that's our primary target. As the Earth fleet hurled through hyperspace, pushing their engines beyond safety limits, Helena retreated to her ready room. There, she recorded her own message, one that would be transmitted to Earth once the fleet engaged the enemy. To the United Earth Government and the people of Earth. By the time you receive this message, the contingency fleet will have engaged Vraxian forces at New Horizon Colony. Today we end the charade. Today humanity stands and fights. If the Galactic Council wants to sanction us for defending our people, so be it. We will no longer hide our strength or apologize for our determination to survive. This is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth Fleet ship Thunderchild. The sleeping giant awakens today. Thunder rising. Dawn broke over the ruins of New Horizon, though few colonists remained on the surface to see it. The once pristine settlement had been reduced to smoking craters and twisted metal. In the main bunker, Governor Ilara Jensen moved through crowded corridors where the wounded lay on every available surface. Medical supplies were dwindling, Air filtration systems were failing, and hope was a luxury no one could afford anymore. Power reserves at 17%, reported Chief Engineer Dawson, his face streaked with grime and blood from a head wound he'd refused treatment for. Life support will fail in approximately 10 hours, Governor. Ilara nodded, absorbing the information with the same calm she'd maintained throughout the attack. And the Vraxians, still in orbit, still bombarding key locations, they're being methodical. A small mercy, though Ilara would never say it aloud. The alien ceremonial approach to destruction had given survivors time to reach the bunkers. Had they simply unleashed their full arsenal at once, New Horizon would already be a memory. In the makeshift command center, a repurposed storage room deep within the bunker, Communications Officer Malik monitored the few remaining functional sensors. "Governor," he called, his voice tight with exhaustion. "You should see this." Ilara joined him at the console, where a grainy display showed the Vraxian fleet. The alien vessels had ceased their bombardment and were repositioning into a defensive formation. "What are they doing?" she asked. Malik shook his head. "Unknown, but they're moving with purpose, almost like." He stopped suddenly, eyes widening as he adjusted the sensors. "Governor, I'm detecting massive hyperspace distortions approaching the system. Something big is coming." For the first time in days, Ilara felt a flicker of emotion break through her carefully maintained facade. Not quite hope, she dared not name it that, but perhaps a postponement of despair. How many signatures? Malik worked his console frantically. It's difficult to get clear readings through the Vraxian jamming, but dozens at least, maybe more. Around them, the bunker's occupants had fallen silent, attention drawn to the small display that showed their executioners suddenly on alert. No one spoke the obvious question: who would come for a doomed human colony on the edge of explored space? In the darkness between stars, reality tore open as 67 warships erupted from hyperspace. At their head, the Thunderchild emerged like a mythological beast, its massive hull gleaming in the light of New Horizon's red dwarf star. On the bridge, Admiral Helena Chen gripped the command rail as the ship's systems stabilized after the strained journey. "Status report," she called. "Hyperspace transition complete," reported navigation. "All ships accounted for. Minimal drive damage reported across the fleet." "Tactical." Captain Rice responded immediately. "Vraxian fleet detected in high orbit around New Horizon. 317 vessels confirmed. They've detected our arrival and are moving to engage." Helena's eyes narrowed as she studied the holographic display. The Vraxian fleet was formidable, more numerous than Earth's forces by nearly 5 to 1. But numbers weren't everything. "Deploy into Formation Theta," she ordered. "All vessels activate shield arrays and weapon systems. Comms, prepare a fleet-wide transmission to the Vraxian command ship." As Earth's fleet spread into a three-dimensional arrowhead formation, Helena stood before the communications array. When the signal was established, she spoke with the full authority of her position. "Vraxian command vessel, this is Admiral Helena Chen of the Earth fleet ship Thunderchild. You are attacking the human settlement in violation of galactic law. Cease your bombardment immediately and withdraw from this system, or we will respond with appropriate force." The response came swiftly. The same war master that had dismissed Ilara's plea for negotiation now appeared on the Thunderchild's main display. The alien seemed momentarily disoriented, its multiple eyes blinking rapidly as it processed the human fleet's appearance. "What deception is this?" the translated voice demanded. "Earth possesses no such vessels. The human species is restricted from building warships of this class." Helena's smile was cold as winter. "Clearly, your intelligence is outdated. This is your final warning. Withdraw or be destroyed." The Vraxian made that untranslatable clicking sound again. "The hunt has begun. It cannot be stopped until the prey is consumed. Your interference violates the sacred rights of the Dominion. Then consider this our formal introduction to your religion," Helena replied, cutting the transmission. She turned to her bridge crew. All ships, weapons free. Protect that colony. On New Horizon, cheers erupted in the bunker as colonists watched the sensor displays. Earth ships, impossibly large, inconceivably powerful, had appeared from nowhere to challenge their tormentors. "My God," whispered Defense Captain Ortiz. "What are those vessels? Earth doesn't have ships like that." Ilara watched the displays with growing wonder. "Apparently, we do." The battle joined with a ferocity that would later be described in galactic records as the awakening of humanity. The Vraxian fleet, confident in their numerical superiority, launched waves of fighters and directed energy weapons at the human vessels. Earth's response rewrote the rules of engagement. The Thunderchild's advanced shields absorbed the initial barrage without strain, while smaller human vessels demonstrated maneuverability that seemed to defy physics. "Enemy fighters approaching, Admiral," reported Captain Reyes. 3 waves, approximately 2,000 units. Helena nodded. "Deploy interceptors. Activate point defense systems." From the Earth fleet erupted thousands of drone interceptors, each the size of a small car, guided by tactical eye, and armed with short-range energy weapons. They swarmed toward the Vraxian fighters in perfect coordination, engaging with precision that the individually piloted alien craft couldn't match. On the main view screen, Helena watched as the space between fleets became a chaotic light show of explosions and weapons fire. The interceptors were performing beyond expectations, neutralizing Vraxian fighters at a 4-to-1 ratio. "Enemy cruisers advancing," Tactical announced, detecting energy buildup consistent with their main weapon systems. "Target lock acquired on Lid cruisers," Weapons Officer Park confirmed. "Mass accelerators charged and ready." Helena's order was simple: fire. The Thunderchild shuddered as its primary weapon discharged. A hypersonic round accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed left the barrel, followed by 5 more in rapid succession. On the tactical display, the rounds appeared as streaks of light that crossed the void in seconds. The effect was devastating. The first Vraxian cruiser suffered a direct hit that transformed the vessel into an expanding sphere of superheated plasma. The second and third cruisers experienced similar fates as rounds designed to penetrate the strongest known alien shielding tore through their defenses like paper. Throughout the fleet, Earth's other dreadnoughts fired their own mass accelerators, each shot claiming a Vraxian capital ship. The smaller human vessels engaged with coordinated precision, focusing fire to overwhelm alien shields one section at a time. "Enemy response," Helena demanded. "Disorganized," replied Commander Jackson. "They're attempting to regroup around their command vessel. Our attack pattern has separated their formation." Helena studied the tactical display, noting the confusion spreading through the Vraxian fleet. They had expected easy prey, not predators. Press the advantage. All dreadnoughts target their supporting cruisers. Frigate squadrons move to cut off their retreat vectors. As orders flowed, Earth's fleet executed a maneuver the Vraxians had never encountered. Ships vanished from sensors only to reappear behind enemy lines, compromising their formation integrity. The quantum displacement drives, technology forbidden by Galactic Council restrictions, allowed human vessels to make micro-jumps in real space, effectively teleporting short distances during battle. "What is this technology?" The Vraxian War Master's transmission cut through the command channel, its translator struggling to convey the mixture of rage and fear in the alien's voice. "Humans do not possess such capabilities." Helena didn't bother responding. The time for talk had ended when the first human died on New Horizon. 3 hours into the battle, the tide had clearly turned. Vraxian vessels were retreating in disarray, abandoning their ceremonial extermination for survival. Nearly half their fleet lay in ruins, while Earth had lost only 7 smaller vessels. "Their command ship is attempting to reach hyperspace coordinates," Tactical reported. "Shall we pursue?" Helena considered for a moment. "Negative. Target their engines. Disable, don't destroy." The Thunderchild's secondary batteries fired precision shots that crippled the massive Vraxian vessel, leaving it drifting in space as its escorts fled into hyperspace. Within minutes, the battle was over. The remaining Vraxian ships had either retreated or been destroyed, leaving their command vessel alone in Earth's custody. Helena ordered an immediate relief mission to New Horizons' surface. Prop ships carrying medical supplies, food, and engineering teams descended to the colony, while the fleet established a defensive perimeter around the planet. In her ready room, Helena opened a secure channel to the United Earth government. New Horizon is secure. The Vraxian fleet has been defeated, with their command vessel captured. Recommend immediate diplomatic outreach to the Galactic Council to present our case before the Vraxians do. The response from Earth was succinct. Acknowledged. The President will address the Council personally. Well done, Admiral. Bring our people home. 1 week later, Governor Ilara Jensen stood in the partially rebuilt Central Plaza of New Horizon. Around her, Earth engineers and colony volunteers worked to restore critical infrastructure. The dead had been honored, the wounded treated, and now the focus was on rebuilding. Admiral Chen approached, her uniform pristine despite the construction dust filling the air. Governor Jensen, our latest reports indicate the Vraxian Dominion has formally requested peace talks through the Galactic Council. Ilara smiled slightly. I imagine our demonstration was persuasive. The Council has called an emergency session. Helena continued. Earth's representative will present evidence of the attack and our response. We expect sanctions, of course, for violating technological restrictions, if nothing else. Will they demand we dismantle the fleet? Ilara asked, voicing the concern many colonists had expressed. Helena's laugh was sharp and brief. They can demand whatever they wish. The days of humanity pretending to be less than we are have ended. The galaxy now knows what we've always known, that humanity will protect its own, whatever the cost. Above them, the Thunderchild hung in low orbit, visible as a bright star even in daylight. More than a vessel, it had become a symbol of defiance, of revelation, and of humanity's refusal to remain confined by others' expectations. What happens now? Ilara asked quietly. Helena looked out over the rebuilding colony, then up at the ship that had led Earth's forces to victory. Now we take our rightful place among the stars, not as supplicants or developing species, but as equals. The galaxy believed humanity was defeated before we began. They were wrong. As if in response, the Thunderchild's massive silhouette caught the light of the rising sun, transforming the vessel into a gleaming beacon visible to every survivor on the surface below. A promise that humanity would never again hide in the shadows of greater powers. They had believed humanity defeated. Earth's dreadnoughts had proven otherwise.